Sardines are one of the most misunderstood foods in modern nutrition. As a doctor, I often hear people say they avoid them because they're too fishy, too salty, or just not healthy enough. But the truth is, sardines are one of the most powerful and underrated foods you can put on your plate. If you're eating them the right way, these small fish are naturally low in mercury, which already puts them ahead of many popular seafood options. Unlike large fish that accumulate toxins over time, sardines stay clean because of their short lifespan. That alone makes them a safer choice for regular consumption. But safety is only part of the story nutritionally. Sardines are packed with high-quality protein, omega-3 fatty acids, calcium, vitamin D, B12, and essential minerals that support heart health, brain function, and bone strength. On paper, they look like a perfect superfood. Yet many people never experience these benefits. And the reason isn't the sardines themselves, it's how they're handled, stored, and eaten over the years. I've noticed a pattern. Most people unknowingly make small mistakes that slowly strip sardines of their value. Some choices reduce their nutritional power. Others ruin the taste. And a few can even turn a healthy food into something your body struggles to handle. For example, the way you choose a can at the grocery store already sets the stage. The packing liquid, storage conditions, and even how long a can sits in your pantry all influence what ends up in your body. What happens after the can is opened matters even more. Exposure to air, improper storage, and common habits like rinsing can quietly undo months of careful preservation. Another overlooked issue is perception. Many people believe sardines should be eaten plain, straight from the can, or avoided altogether if they don't taste perfect the first time. That mindset alone keeps people from discovering how flexible and enjoyable sardines can actually be. In this video, I want to walk you through the most common mistakes people make when eating sardines, starting with the least obvious ones and working our way to the biggest and most damaging habit of all. Some of these mistakes may surprise you. Others might feel familiar once you hear them explained clearly. My goal isn't to scare you away from sardines. Quite the opposite. I want to help you unlock their full potential so they actually support your health the way they're supposed to. When eaten properly, sardines can strengthen bones, protect your heart, reduce inflammation, and provide nourishment that many modern diets are missing. By the end of this series, you'll know exactly how to choose, store, prepare, and enjoy sardines with confidence, without wasting their benefits or ruining their flavor. Now, let's begin with the first mistake most people don't even realize they're making. One of the most common mistakes I see people make with sardines is removing the bones. It feels instinctive. We're taught from childhood that fish bones are something to avoid, sharp, annoying, and potentially dangerous. With larger fish, that caution makes sense. But sardines are completely different. The bones in sardines are not only safe to eat, they are actually one of the most valuable parts of the fish. During the canning process, sardines are pressure cooked for long periods. This breaks the bones down until they become incredibly soft, so soft that most people don't even notice them when chewing. There's no crunch, no sharp edges, and no risk when eaten normally. In fact, many people who say they've removed the bones are surprised to learn they've already been eating them without realizing it. What makes this mistake so costly is what those bones contain. Sardine bones are one of the richest natural sources of calcium available in food. Just one serving of sardines with the bones intact can provide over a third of your daily calcium needs. That's remarkable, especially when you consider how many people struggle to get enough calcium from their diets. Calcium isn't just about bones. It plays a role in muscle contraction, nerve signaling, heart rhythm, and hormone release. As we age, our ability to absorb calcium declines, and bone loss accelerates, particularly in women. This is one of the reasons fractures become more common later in life. What many people don't realize is that sardines don't just provide calcium. They also contain vitamin D, which helps your body absorb and use that calcium effectively. Together, calcium and vitamin D form a powerful combination for protecting bone density and reducing the risk of osteoporosis. When you remove the bones, you're not making the fish cleaner or healthier. You're stripping away one of its greatest strengths. Some people choose deboned sardines, thinking they're more convenient. But deboned sardines often come at a higher price, have a softer, broken texture, and offer significantly less nutritional value. The deboning process can damage the fish and remove exactly what makes sardines so special in the first place. From a medical perspective, Sardines with bones are especially beneficial for older adults, postmenopausal women, and anyone concerned about bone health. They provide a food-based form of calcium that's easier for the body to use than many supplements. So instead of discarding the bones, think of them as a built-in bonus. They're invisible, harmless, and incredibly nourishing. Keeping them in transforms sardines from a simple protein into a true bone-supporting superfood. Now that you understand why the bones matter, let's move on to another common mistake people make, one that happens before the can is even opened. One of the biggest mistakes people make with sardines doesn't happen in the kitchen. It happens in the grocery store, right in front of the shelf. And it seems like a healthy decision at first, choosing sardines packed in water instead of oil. Many people assume water-packed sardines are the better option. They sound lighter, lower in calories, and more diet-friendly. But from a nutritional and practical standpoint, this choice often works against you. Sardines are naturally rich in healthy fats, especially omega-3 fatty acids. These fats are responsible for many of the benefits sardines are known for: reducing inflammation, supporting heart health, protecting the brain, and improving cholesterol balance. Fat isn't something to fear here. It's one of the reasons sardines are so powerful. When sardines are packed in oil, that oil helps protect the delicate omega-3 fats from exposure to air. It acts as a barrier, slowing oxidation and preserving both flavor and nutritional value. Over time, the fish and the oil exchange flavors, creating a richer, more balanced taste. Water, on the other hand, offers no protection. Sardines packed in water tend to dry out more easily. Their texture becomes firmer, sometimes chalky, and their flavor can turn flat or metallic as the natural oils inside the fish break down. Once oxidation begins, not only does the taste suffer, but the omega-3 content also degrades. This is why many people who say they don't like sardines have only tried water-packed varieties. The experience is often bland, unpleasant, and nothing like what sardines are meant to taste like. Yes, sardines in oil contain more calories. But these are not empty calories. They're coming from healthy fats that support hormone balance, brain function, and long-term satiety. In fact, eating sardines with fat can help you feel fuller longer and reduce the urge to snack later. The type of oil matters too. Sardines packed in olive oil are especially beneficial. Olive oil adds its own antioxidants and heart protective compounds, making the combination even more powerful. Even neutral oils tend to preserve sardines better than water alone. If you're concerned about calories, a better approach is portion control, not stripping sardines of the very fats that make them nourishing. From a medical standpoint, the goal isn't to eat the lowest calorie version of a food. It's to eat the version that delivers the most nutrition with the least harm. In the case of sardines, oil-packed varieties almost always win. So next time you're scanning the shelf, don't let the word water fool you. That small choice can mean the difference between a dry, forgettable meal and a nutrient-rich food that truly supports your health. Now that you know what to look for before opening the can, let's talk about what happens after the lid comes off. Once a can of sardines is opened, a silent countdown begins. This is a step many people underestimate, and it leads to wasted food, lost nutrition, and sometimes digestive discomfort. Unopened sardines can last for years when stored properly. But the moment air hits the fish, everything changes. Sardines are rich in delicate fats, especially omega-3 fatty acids. These fats are highly sensitive to oxygen. As soon as the can is opened, oxidation starts. This process slowly breaks down the fats, altering both the taste and the nutritional value of the fish. The longer sardines sit exposed to air, the more those benefits fade. How quickly this happens depends on what the sardines are packed in. Sardines packed in water deteriorate the fastest, often within 24 hours. Oil-packed sardines last longer, usually 2 to 3 days when refrigerated properly. Sardines in tomato-based sauces may stretch a little further, but none of them are meant to sit around for a week after opening. One of the most common mistakes is leaving sardines in the open metal can. Once exposed to air, the metal can interact with oxygen and moisture, accelerating spoilage and creating an unpleasant metallic taste. This isn't just a flavor issue, it can also increase irritation for sensitive stomachs. From a food safety standpoint, sardines should always be transferred to a clean, airtight container after opening. Glass is ideal, but food-safe plastic works as well. This simple step slows oxidation, protects flavor, and reduces the risk of contamination. Another issue I often see is saving a little for later. People open a can, eat half, and forget about the rest in the fridge. By the time they come back to it days later, the sardines may look fine, but the oils have already begun to degrade. Even if there's no obvious smell, the nutritional quality may be significantly reduced. Freezing sardines is an option, but it's not ideal. Freezing alters the texture, making them softer and more fragile when thawed. While they may still be safe to eat, the eating experience is noticeably different. The best approach is simple: only open what you plan to eat within 1 or 2 days. Treat sardines like fresh fish, not shelf-stable leftovers. Once opened, they deserve careful handling. This habit alone can dramatically improve how sardines taste and how your body responds to them. Many people who believe sardines don't agree with them are actually eating oxidized fish without realizing it. Now that we've covered what happens after opening the can, the next mistake happens even earlier, during storage. Before you ever think about eating them, many people assume that canned food is nearly indestructible. Once it's sealed, they believe it can sit anywhere for years without consequences. Sardines, however, are more sensitive than most people realize. And poor storage can quietly destroy their quality long before the expiration date. Heat, light, and moisture are the biggest enemies of canned sardines. When sardines are exposed to high temperatures, such as being stored near a stove, oven, or in a warm garage, the oils inside the fish begin to oxidize faster. This breakdown dulls flavor and reduces the effectiveness of omega-3 fatty acids. Over time, the fish can develop an off taste that many people mistake for normal fishiness. Sunlight creates a similar problem. Direct or repeated light exposure accelerates chemical reactions inside the can, especially in oil-packed sardines. This is why sardines stored in a dark, cool pantry maintain their quality far longer than those left on open shelves or near windows. Moisture introduces another risk. Damp environments can cause cans to rust, particularly around seams. Rust weakens the can and increases the chance of microscopic leaks. Even if the fish inside doesn't look spoiled, compromised cans can allow bacteria to grow, a serious food safety concern. It's also important to understand that not all sardines age the same way. Sardines packed in tomato sauce, mustard, or other acidic liquids break down faster than those packed in oil. Acid slowly reacts with the metal lining of the can, which shortens shelf life and can affect flavor. That's why I always recommend a rotation system. Use sardines packed in sauces first, and save oil-packed varieties for longer storage. This simple habit reduces waste and ensures you're always eating sardines at their best. Before opening any can, take a moment to inspect it. Bulging lids, leaking oil, deep dents near the seams, or heavy rust are all warning signs. If you notice any of these, do not taste the sardines. Throw the can away. No health benefit is worth the risk of food poisoning. From a medical perspective, I see people overlook these signs because sardines are considered cheap food. But affordability doesn't mean they're disposable or harmless when mishandled. Sardines are one of the most nutrient-dense foods available, and they deserve the same care you'd give fresh seafood. Proper storage protects more than flavor. It protects nutrients, digestion, and safety. When sardines are stored correctly, they remain a reliable source of protein, healthy fats, and minerals for years. Now that we've covered storage, let's talk about how people actually eat sardines, and why eating them the same way every time may be another hidden mistake. Point: one of the reasons sardines are so popular is convenience. You open the can, and the meal is ready. There's nothing wrong with that. But when sardines are eaten the same way every time, plain, straight from the tin, many people quickly lose interest or assume sardines simply aren't for them. This is a missed opportunity. Sardines are not just a snack. They're an ingredient. And when you treat them that way, both the flavor and the nutritional value improve. From a health perspective, sardines become even more powerful when paired with other foods. Combining them with vegetables, whole grains, or healthy fats helps your body absorb nutrients more efficiently. For example, vitamin C-rich foods like tomatoes, bell peppers, or lemon juice can enhance iron absorption from sardines. Fiber-rich foods support digestion and help regulate cholesterol. From a taste perspective, sardines benefit from contrast. Their natural richness pairs beautifully with fresh, acidic, or crunchy ingredients. This balance prevents the meal from feeling heavy and keeps the flavors clean and satisfying. There are many simple ways to do this without complicated cooking. You can mash sardines with a little olive oil or yogurt and spread them on toast or crackers for a protein-rich meal. Add sliced tomatoes, onions, or herbs to brighten the flavor. Stir sardines into warm pasta or rice at the very end of cooking to preserve their texture while boosting nutrition. Fold them into scrambled eggs or omelets for a filling breakfast that supports brain and muscle function. Even salads benefit from sardines. Mixed with leafy greens, olives, and a squeeze of lemon, sardines provide healthy fats that help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K from the vegetables. Another benefit of variety is consistency. Many people stop eating sardines because they associate them with boredom or unpleasant texture. When prepared in different ways, sardines become something you look forward to instead of something you tolerate for health reasons. As a doctor, I often encourage patients to think long-term. A food only helps you if you continue eating it. Sardines don't need to be gourmet or complicated, but they do need to be enjoyable. Eating them straight from the can is fine occasionally. But relying on that method alone limits how often you'll include them in your diet, and limits the benefits you'll receive. Now that we've talked about preparation, the next mistake is about expectations. Many people assume sardines are all the same, and that assumption leads to disappointment. One of the fastest ways people give up on sardines is by assuming that one bad experience defines them all. They open a can, don't enjoy the taste or texture, and decide sardines simply aren't for them. From a nutritional and culinary standpoint, this assumption couldn't be more misleading. Sardines vary far more than most people realize. Just like coffee beans, olive oil, or wine, sardines are influenced by where they come from, when they're caught, and how they're processed. The water the fish swim in, their diet, and even seasonal changes all affect flavor and texture. Sardines from colder waters tend to have a firmer texture and cleaner taste. Those from warmer regions may be softer and richer. Fish caught at different times of year can vary in fat content, which directly impacts flavor intensity. Sardines harvested later in the year often contain more natural oils, giving them a deeper, fuller taste. Processing also plays a major role. Some sardines are lightly steamed and hand-packed, while others are mass-processed. Higher quality sardines maintain their shape and texture, while lower quality options may appear mushy or broken. This difference alone can completely change the eating experience. The packing liquid adds another layer. Sardines in olive oil tend to develop complex flavors over time. Tomato-based sauces bring acidity and sweetness. Mustard, herbs, or smoked varieties introduce entirely different profiles. These aren't small differences, they're dramatic shifts in taste. This matters because taste determines consistency. If you don't enjoy the sardines you buy, you won't eat them regularly, no matter how healthy they are. From a health perspective, variety also reduces exposure to any single processing method or ingredient. Rotating brands and styles helps ensure you're not consuming excess sodium, additives, or degraded oils over time. I often advise patients to treat sardines as an exploration rather than a one-time test. Trying different brands, origins, and pack styles can completely change how you feel about them. Many people who hate sardines discover they simply hadn't found the right one yet. Price isn't always the best indicator of quality, but extremely cheap sardines often reflect shortcuts in processing. Spending slightly more can result in a better texture, cleaner flavor, and higher satisfaction, which makes the habit sustainable. If you think of sardines as a single, fixed food, you'll likely miss their potential. But if you approach them as a category with diversity, they become far more enjoyable and useful. Now that we've talked about choosing better sardines, the next mistake involves how people pair them, and why the wrong combinations can overwhelm their flavor. Sardines are small, but their flavor is bold. That richness is one of their strengths, and also the reason many people struggle to enjoy them. One of the most common mistakes is pairing sardines with the wrong flavors, which overwhelms the palate instead of balancing it. From a nutritional and culinary standpoint, sardines need contrast, because sardines are naturally oily and savory. They pair best with ingredients that are fresh, bright, or slightly acidic. These elements cut through the richness and bring the dish into balance. When this balance is missing, sardines can feel too heavy or intense. Even if they're high quality, some of the best companions for sardines include lemon juice, vinegar, tomatoes, capers, pickled vegetables, and fresh herbs like parsley, dill, or cilantro. These ingredients don't hide the sardine flavor, they refine it. They make the fish taste cleaner and more vibrant rather than overpowering. Crunch also matters. Pairing sardines with crisp vegetables, toasted bread, or raw onions adds texture that keeps each bite interesting. Texture contrast reduces the feeling of oiliness and makes sardines more satisfying to eat. Where people often go wrong is with overly rich pairings, heavy cream sauces. Excessive cheese, butter-based dishes, or sweet glazes tend to clash with sardines. Instead of complementing the fish, they stack richness on top of richness. The result is a dish that feels dense, greasy, and unpleasantly strong. Sweet flavors are especially tricky. Sardines have a natural saltiness and umami depth. When paired with sugary sauces or fruit-heavy toppings, the contrast often feels confusing rather than refreshing. The flavors compete instead of working together. This doesn't mean sardines are limiting. It means they benefit from thoughtful pairing. From a health perspective, proper pairing also improves digestion. Acidic and fiber-rich foods help stimulate digestive enzymes and bile flow, making it easier for your body to process fats. Many people who feel heavy or uncomfortable after eating sardines are actually missing this balance. A simple example illustrates this well. Sardines on toast with lemon, herbs, and tomatoes feel light and satisfying. Sardines smothered in cheese sauce feel overwhelming and hard to finish, even if the portion size is the same. When sardines are paired correctly, they feel fresh, clean, and energizing. When paired poorly, they reinforce the belief that sardines are unpleasant or too much. Understanding this mistake alone can completely change your experience with sardines. Now, let's move on to a habit many people believe is healthy, but actually strips sardines of both flavor and nutrition. One of the most misunderstood habits when it comes to sardines is rinsing them before eating. Many people do this automatically, believing it makes the fish healthier, less salty, or less fishy. Unfortunately, this well-intended step does far more harm than good. When sardines are canned, the liquid they're packed in is not just filler. Whether it's oil, tomato sauce, or brine, that liquid plays a role in preserving the fish and enhancing its nutritional value. Over time, the fish and the liquid exchange flavors and nutrients. Some of the most important compounds, especially omega-3 fatty acids and fat-soluble vitamins, migrate into that liquid. When you rinse sardines underwater, you wash away much more than surface residue. You remove flavor that has taken months to develop, along with valuable nutrients your body can actually use. With oil-packed sardines, rinsing creates another issue. Oil and water don't mix, so the fish often becomes slippery, fragile, and broken apart. The texture suffers, and the sardines lose the richness that makes them satisfying in the first place. The same applies to sardines packed in tomato or mustard sauces. Those sauces aren't just flavoring, they help balance the fish's natural oils. Rinsing strips away acidity and depth, leaving the sardines tasting flat and incomplete. Salt is usually the reason people rinse sardines. But here's the important truth: most of the sodium in sardines is already absorbed into the fish during the canning process. Rinsing the surface does very little to reduce total sodium intake. A better approach is choosing low-sodium varieties or adjusting the rest of your meal to compensate. Skip added salt elsewhere, pair sardines with fresh vegetables, or balance them with potassium-rich foods like leafy greens. From a medical standpoint, rinsing sardines is like removing the most functional part of the food. It's similar to draining the broth from a nutrient-rich soup and eating only what's left behind. If the flavor feels too strong, the solution isn't washing it away. The solution is pairing. Acid, herbs, and fresh ingredients naturally soften the intensity without sacrificing nutrition. Sardines are meant to be enjoyed as they are, not scrubbed clean of what makes them valuable. Once you stop rinsing them, many people notice immediate improvements in taste, texture, and satisfaction. Now, there's one final mistake left, the biggest one of all, and it's the habit that causes people to waste the most nutrition without even realizing it.